Dear students, good evening. Welcome to Excellence IAS. Let us do the editorial analysis for today, that is December 5th, 2022. The first article, poor soil management will erode food security. You know that food security is critical for national security. That's why Professor M.S. Swaminathan, father of India's Green Revolution, what he said is, food sovereignty is national sovereignty. In this case, the soil management is very critical for the nutritional outcomes in the food we eat. In these circumstances, let us know certain facts. Today, India is facing a hazard of soil degradation. Total 29% of Indian area, cultivable area, is degraded soil. And second, in the terms of the number of hectares, 3.7 million hectares of land in India, it suffers from nutrient loss. So in this case, why the soil health is so important for us? Whatever the food systems we have today, the base of this food system is soil. So healthy food production, quality food production, nutrient food production, all these are dependent on the quality of soil. To what extent microorganisms rich in the soil, to what extent organic matter is rich in the soil, to that extent the nutrient potential of the food is determined. In these circumstances, what are the factors that are leading to degradation of soil? You know that various industrial activities, mining and fossil fuel extraction, added to that. If you go to Delhi and many of the North India places like Punjab, Haryana, they burn the crop residue on the soil itself, on the farm itself. That kills the existing microorganism life in that. And also pesticides and fertilizers are excessively used. And irrigation, especially irrigation with contaminated wastewater, all this is killing the soil. So the soil degradation has industrial reasons. It also has agricultural reasons or exploitative practices by our farmers. Remember, soil is the sink for carbon. So whatever the carbon which we have in the atmosphere, it is sunk into the soil. Oceans are the biggest carbon sink. Then the second biggest carbon sink is soil. So obviously, because of this degradation of soil, we are seeing certain outcomes. What are the outcomes? Agricultural productivity is lost, biodiversity is lost, and then the water quality which has to seep through the soil, the quality will be decreased, and the food and its nutrient value will be lost, and then farmers who are dependent on the soil for their socio-economic well-being, they will lose the livelihood. So these are all the consequences which we are seeing today due to decrease in agricultural productivity of our lands. In this case, what Indian government is doing, so first is, we are encouraging sustainable agriculture, chemical-free agriculture, and we want to encourage the soil biodiversity. And to save the soil biodiversity, various programs are being launched, that is National Mission on Sustainable Agriculture, and also to ensure the soil health cards are being given to the farmers. And soil organic matter is also being enhanced by promoting the organic agriculture. Soil erosion is being stopped through various mechanisms. So this strategy is called as five-pronged strategy of Government of India to address the issues of soil degradation. So in this case, various schemes which you need to remember are Soil Health Card Scheme, National Mission on Sustainable Agriculture, Pradhana Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, which is intends to conserve the water necessary for agriculture. New phases in Nepal's politics, a phase of change. Let us know the history of Nepal a bit. First, there was royalty. The king used to rule Nepal. Then it transformed into democracy. In this democracy and republic which has formed, the king has got greater respect even today. Now, on the other side, Maoist insurgency is responsible for overthrowing the royal. Today, Nepal Congress is on one side, and then Communist Party of Nepal, there is Maoist, which is Prachanda's party, and then Communist Party of Nepal, United Marxist Leninist is another thing, and then Communist Party of Nepal, Unified Socialist is another thing. So like that, Nepali Congress is on one side, And then we also have Communist Party of Nepal, which has got many factions in it. Along with this, the right wing is represented by the conservative elements, the king supported elements. This is called Rashtriya Prajatantra Party. Rashtriya Prajatantra Party. And next, there is a region called Terai region. Most of the Hindi speaking population who have got Beti, Rista with India, these live in this Terai region. Beti Roti Ka Rista they call it as. So these are called Madhesis. So there are few political parties which are representing the Madhesis. And added to that, young people have entered into the politics. Many of the youth are also being represented in political parties, or they have started their own political parties. Now, the pre-poll alliance, if we observe, it is between Nepali Congress and Communist Party of Nepal Maoist. If you see, Maoists are responsible for killing many of the leaders of Nepali Congress when there was the change of the political system over there. Now these two have come into pre-poll alliance. And then there is Mr. Oli's party, that is Communist Party of Nepal United Marxist Leninist. So overall, this poll alliance has got the majority, but it is not an sufficient absolute majority. Based on this, let us try to understand the politics in Nepal. The one more thing before that, I want to explain you about election system in Nepal. Election system in Nepal is called as a mixed system. In mixed system, you will have first past the post system and also proportional representation system. Here, when the voter goes to the polling booth, he will vote in two ballot boxes. In the first ballot box, he will vote to the candidate, which is like our system, first past the post system at the constituency level. And the second ballot, he will vote for the political party, which is proportional representation system. A mixed system exists. I think there are 275 seats in the parliament. 110 are through proportional representation. 165 seats are being filled through first past the post system. In India, we have only first past the post system for direct elections. In this scenario, what we can observe is Madhesis, political parties specifically meant to take up the interests of the Madhesis, these have not performed well in these elections. And then established political parties, they fail to show their prominence, especially the communist parties. Their seats have reduced remarkably in the Union Parliament over there. On the other side, the Royalist Party, right-wing conservative party, that is Rashtriya Prajatantra Party, it has won significant seats. That clearly shows that the rightist elements are also entering into the Nepal politics. Nepal, the population, if you observe, 50% of the population are less than 25 years. In a way, we can say it is a very young nation. So, young nation are represented by young people. This is the philosophy that is taking ground in Nepal. In this context, what are implications for India? With the rise of the social media, increased connectivity of Nepal to the world, and rise of youth in politics in Nepal has a new lessons for relations with Nepal. First is, India is considered as one among many countries to maintain relations, or the warmth which was existing before is no more there. And second, as Nepal is an young nation, so that's why young people are being represented. These are nurtured in Nepal in the anti-India sentiment. Especially, we have made economic blockade towards Nepal during when Oli was the prime minister. Many of the youth have resented that, and they have seen the rise of China era. So this kind of change in elite in Nepal can complicate the India-Nepal relations. That is what is the essence of this article. Next is a small uptick. You see, from time to time, the GST collections are going up. In these circumstances, the GST tax revenues have significantly raised in November. So, November GST reports will be belonging to October. So, October is a festival month. We have expected enormous increase in GST, but it did not happen. The GST raise is only 10.9%. That clearly shows that The festive season did not record the GST collections as expected. And in this clearly shows consumers are very cautious. That has to be an important learning for us when we take the growth statistics into consideration. Next, from a vicious cycle to virtuous cycle. Now, if you observe poor in India are micro entrepreneurs. Who are these micro entrepreneurs? Let us take the street vendors. These street vendors, they get the loans at very high cost, and they don't have access to formal banking institutions. So that's why they are dependent on money lenders, and they have to pay high interest rates to these money lenders. So that's why a poor man suffers from higher interest rates in India. In this case, if we provide access to the finances at lower interest rates, these street vendors can be successful business people. But they do not have any collateral. How the banks to trust these micro entrepreneurs? In this case, Samhita Social Ventures and Collective Good Foundation, they did one experiment. You can use this experiment or case study towards strengthening your answer for financial inclusion. In this, what they did is, a returnable grant RG is created. It means that I'll give you 10,000 rupees, I will take your details, and I'll ask you to repay that without any collateral. Based on this, I will develop a credit record. It means what is his credit discipline, how frequently he is paying, what are his defaults, everything I record. Based on this, pre-loan credit score will be developed. This pre-loan credit score is nothing but how disciplined he is in his repayments. Based on this, he can be given certain loan from the banks. It means more he is credit disciplined, more he is incentivized. So this returnable grant has clearly shown that the poor people have a higher rate of repayments compared to rich. Second thing is, they have higher business potential, better returns compared to the other established businesses. That is the observation made by this agency. So, we can use this for +1 advantage to enrich our answer. China moves in the Indian Ocean. Remember, China's top development aid agency convened one session that is called China Indian Ocean Region Forum. So this China Indian Ocean Region Forum, many of the people did not attend from Maldives, Australia, but China has claimed that they all have attended this. So this clearly shows that China's interests are increasing in the Indian Ocean. So on the other side, Indian Ocean Association for Regional Cooperation, India also has another forum. So competitive to this forum, China has developed another forum that is called China Indian Ocean Region Forum. So remember this name, China Indian Ocean, the Region Forum. That is the name, right? Indian Ocean Rim Association, that is what is India's forum. Next, why has the Reserve Bank of India introduced e-Rupee? Now see, today we have UPI. And then wallets. Let us understand Paytm or Google Pay. All these are called as UPI wallets. Now, digital rupee is being brought in by the government. What is the difference? This year I am expecting a prelims question on this. Here in the digital wallets, there will be two commercial banks where an individual will maintain the accounts. Commercial bank A, payer will be having an account. Commercial bank B, payee will be having an account. It has to move from A to B when A pays to B. So it means two commercial banks are involved in settling that particular transaction. On the other side, in the digital rupee, it is like your cash. Now, who maintains the wallet? It is no more who maintains the account. It is no more the commercial banks. It is the RBI which maintains the account. So, RBI will manage your account. So, when you want to pay from A to B, RBI's A account to RBI's B account, it will be moving on. Just it is like exchange of currency. So, when we are moving from A to B, obviously, when there are no two entities are involved, the speed of transaction will be very huge. And this transaction is happening on the blockchain, so it is very well protected. And there will be no transaction charges on this, as it is purely equivalent to giving and taking the cash. So that's why this is expected to fasten the transactions, and it removes the commercial banks as the intermediaries for day-to-day transactions. That's why this appears to be much faster and safer. These are the articles for today. Thank you very much.